I'm not going to take any credit for being right. I'm sure thousands or hundreds of thousands of people, a lot of you, saw the dream term coming a mile away. But when you're right, you're right. And yet, when it happened, I still felt like I wanted to see what happened next week. That's when you know the show has something decent going for it. What's up, everybody? Brett Mix here, Macho Wrestling 101. Please hit like and subscribe. I'm trying to grow the channel. This is Raw from November 13th, 2023 at Washington, D.C. 12 days to War Games at Survivor Series. I felt this one was better than SmackDown. I rated that shit show 3.5 out of 10. But I have high standards for these programs. For instance, an Attitude Era Raw from the year 2000 might get a 8 out of 10 for me. But I had high standards for those programs too. If it was really good, I'd say maybe 8 out of 10. So if I rate something, let's say 5 out of 10, that's still pretty decent when you consider it's 2023 and ratings have never been this low. Nonetheless, let's get to the show. Not to read Cody Rhodes' promo about starting the show. Whoa. I'll never do that again. I promise. I'll never do that again. But Cody Rhodes began the show like I kind of figured he would. He just for whatever reason, I just saw Cody Rhodes starting this show because they had him run in last week with Jey Uso at the very end there. Cody mentions the tag match tonight with Judgment Day and War Games, and he introduces his team. Main event, Jey Uso came out, Sami Zayn came out, Seth Rollins came out, and I'm sorry, but Seth Rollins is is so obnoxious at this point. I mean, I like the crowd having some fun, just like they do with the what chants, even though those are obnoxious. But enough's enough. They're going to still do it time and time again. But if that's all that Seth's got going for him, hey, you can't hate on the guy. The Judgment Day come out eventually, and Balor calls everyone clowns. Priest says they're a group of randoms thrown together, but this is a family. The Judgment Day throw insults out to each one, trying to throw them off their game. Rollins says can't beat Cody. Cody can't be champ. Zayn is a loser, and Jey Uso can't be trusted. Dom then tried to get on the mic and is instantly booed. At least this Raw is starting off better than SmackDown's LWO issues. You suck chanted to Dom, and Zayn tries to pin them against each other. Priest says he's the leader when questioned. Sometimes Priest doesn't sound very confident on the mic, but he did when he said that line, which was important. I really don't mind Priest in most parts. He does sound confident most of the time. It's just sometimes when he's talking to Mommy, and I know he's supposed to be a little bit less on the wrong of Mommy, so maybe that's why he doesn't sound as confident, but I like Priest in most moments. We get an impromptu tag to kick off Raw with the two men in the Judgment Day and the two men that weren't in the main event getting it off. JD and McDonough against Seth Rollins and Zayn with Dominic as his partner. And Dirty Dom got tagged in, and you could tell due to the boos. Both members of the Judgment Day wanted to leave. Instead, I felt they were going for a double suicide dive, but they rolled to the outside and beat Judgment Day up on the barricade. Then we got a double suicide dive to the outside by Rollins and Zayn, which takes us to our first commercial break, 5.5 minutes into the match. Back from commercial 3 minutes later, and the match has made its way back into the ring, where JD McDonough runs into a clothesline, and then a sling blade by Balor. Or not a sling blade by Balor, by Dom. Then a knee to the gut, and Rollins, who had the crowd singing obnoxiously long, had got taken down by Dom. Rollins comes off the ropes and hits a powerbomb into the turnbuckle called the Buckle Bomb. Now the crowd chanted his song, but Balor and Priest break the match up, and we get a DQ at the 10-minute mark, as Mommy is out to order a beatdown as Jay and Cody run to the ring. Now all the officials come out. Adam Pearce comes out, and again he uses the same line as he did last week about the games. At least he didn't say War Games this time, but he did make the rules. This means he did make the rules, saying that they can't come out. They can't come out during tonight's main event. So I knew instantly what that meant. I know that means somebody who's not in Judgment Day, not yet, is going to come out, and I predict it's Drew McIntyre. If I'm wrong, which I wasn't, I'll read these notes out loud, and I will own it if I'm wrong, and I will eat the L. but I don't have to because I'm not wrong. Back from commercial, or I should say, Rhea Ripley has a panic attack before we go to commercial after trying to figure out what's going to happen. I also speculated if Randy Orton was going to come out tonight. Maybe that's safe for next week, but we'll see. Back from commercial, Zoe Stark comes to the ring and she has to say, let me guess, she's going to take the title off of... She's going to say, I have to take the title off of you, Ripley, at Survivor Series. Yep, I was right. I hate when they kiss each other's asses during promos to put each other over. Ripley and talks to Zoe Stark and just puts her over about how she's done this and how she's done that. I really just wish the doing so and the commentators can stick to that stuff, because it really takes away when the rival gives each other their credit. I could see if you're a tweener, and Mummy is in ways tweener, but she's still a heel. So Tony Stark didn't say that right away, or Zoe Stark didn't say that right away. I'm thinking of Tony Storm there when I said Tony Stark. Zoe Stark didn't say that right away, but she did end up saying, I'm going to take that title. It's like it's the only line this ladies division has. I'm going to take that title at insert event here. I will become champion at Survivor Series. I don't know. Does anyone see the problem with that? I just laid out her promo before she did, and it's always yada yada yada. I'm taking the title. It's the same story every damn time. It really pisses me off. I've been watching Raw for over 30 years, and it's just a piss off at this point. What do I want then? How about character development? How about a storyline? How about something where you can say something else to somebody other than, I'm gonna take your title at insert event here. Next we go to Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm just tired of that shit. Next we have Nakamura, and I didn't care to read the subtitles. Those subtitle promos are just getting redundant too. His match is next. Otis with his weird strip down last week after he jumped in the ring with Nakamura after Nakamura beat Tozawa last week. This time he's going to get an actual match so he can strip down and it'll mean something. Shinsuke Nakamura is what Otis wanted last week. Back from a commercial, we have them in the match. Before they get to the match, Cody says backstage the team needs Rollins at War Games. Rollins says he respects Cody, and for one night he will promise Cody that they're good, even though he said he's never going to like him. So at least they're trying to make something make sense out of past rivalries. At least they're not just all, we're on the good team now, so we're all going to get along. I like that. That's story continuation. That's a good thing. That's character development. That is storyline progressions. Otis, meanwhile, awaits in the ring during all this, like he waited a week for the match. At least Survivor Series is in the air. The Royal Rumble Mania season is near, so there's some excitement coming. There's excitement brewing. Raw's doing its best job, I guess. Otis stands strong versus Shinsuke early on as Shinsuke looks for an extremity to break. Just basic wrestling strategies. Otis runs into Shinsuke Nakamura with a powerful frame. Otis hits his good vibration move, something Bad News Barrett says he'd never wanted to see again, and I'd agree. Otis on the outside ran through Shinsuke Nakamura, and the Academy danced around. An uphill battle as Otis showed agility in the ring, back elbows to Nakamura, and a splash in the corner. Big clothesline as Otis strips down, which got a pop for whatever reason. He's doing his stripping in a match this time. He then connects with the Caterpillar. Nakamura kicks out because he doesn't lose to Otis. So, Nakamura caught him in the corner and hit a Shinkasa, but Otis countered with a slam, but a kick out. Otis hit with another Shinkasa and then a third one. Puts Otis away. A hat trick of Shinkasas. If I didn't pronounce that right, I'm sorry, but hat trick of three Casas in Washington, D.C., and Alex Ovechkin hat trick. After that, Gable is pushed by Nakamura as they have bad blood together. Backstage, Drew does the whole, I'm going to do it, what I always do, and fight my way back to the top. Yep, like jumping Jeff Farmer. Yep. And things are all right. Sure they're all right, Drew. You can see this coming a mile away, and again, if I'm wrong, I'm writing in my notes, I will eat the L if I'm wrong. And I'm sure neither were you. I'm really not taking credit for calling a heel turn coming a mile away. I mean, we all knew this heel turn was going to come. Backstage, but with that backstage segment, if that took away anybody's, that's that's crazy because that just showed me, like, it just confirmed to me, that backstage segment, that this was gonna be a heel turn. Next, Piper Niven went one-on-one next. Crowd don't care, and I don't care. Moving on to Miz in a backstage segment with Ivar, and Bronson Reed comes in. They scream around. Tegan Nox ends up wrestling Piper in the ring as they go to that next. A lot of going to backstage segments when two guys are waiting in the ring, or ladies are waiting in the ring. A lot of backstage segments were happening tonight while that was happening. I just thought that was interesting. Piper drops Nox with a short arm clothesline. Green talks trash to the commentary. Whatever you got to do in this, I'm going to take your title division that the women are in. Tegan with the world's shiniest wizard, but Piper got her leg up on the rope. Tegan moved out of harm's way, and Nox rolled up Piper out of nowhere after missing the bonsai drop, but the roll-up of Doom did her in. Another champion losing on TV, looking up at the lights via the roll-up of Doom. Great booking, Rex. Another decent match, and I'll rate that match a star and 3/4. The Shinsuke match before that, I rated a star and a half. I didn't mention that till now. Next, we have Ciampa and Gargano coming out to a decent reaction for them. They both could be something great in this roster, but Ciampa and Kaiser of Imperium come to take on them. It's going to be Kaiser and Ciampa in the ring. Tommaso Ciampa gets a huge slap from Kaiser. Kaiser delivers vicious kicks towards Ciampa, but it was a drive-by by Kaiser that guts the win as Tommaso Ciampa was in complete control. A drive-by by Vinci turned the tide, and the roll-up by Kaiser got him the victory as he took Tommaso Ciampa, who was dominating with Thez Perez's inverted slams, right hands, but a drive-by on the outside helps put Tommaso Ciampa away. Imperium stood tall at the end of the match while Gargano on the outside can't believe it. Again, these guys' DIY could be used for so much more. I think Gargano needs a character of some sort. What we've seen from him in the past, force a character on him. They did that in the past with Steve Blackman, and that didn't end up going great. Not that Gargano's Steve Blackman. He has 1,000 times the skill Blackman does. But I'm just talking about when they try to put a charismatic character on somebody that's rather, I'm not going to say stale, but first name, last name, I'm a great wrestler, like Johnny Gargano. So 2 stars and 3/4 for that match by Ciampa and Kaiser. Backstage, the Judgment Day are focused on the main event. They decide Priest is the leader of Judgment Day. They're all on the same page if we already didn't know. Xia Li comes to the ring and she does a lot of hey ya sha 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 ya. China's Xia Li waits for her competition. She goes at it with Indy Hartwell. Xia Li is shown knocking out the Mon, Becky Lynch, last week. So when the Mon got taken out, she made her name, did Xia Li. Indy knocked her out to the outside. Lee pushes her to the steps. Xia Li showing her octane offense and her martial arts background with a running knee and missed her. This created an opening for Hartwell, who hit a clothesline and a spine buster, then got a near fall. Xia Li then fought back with a spinning heel kick, and Hartwell is then down on the mat, and they ring the bell. They have determined that Hartwell could not compete, so Lee is proven to be the victor as they ring the bell prematurely. This puts her danger meter high for Xia Li. They want to make sure you know she's dangerous. I'll rate the match a star. Becky Lynch then comes out and says, and some of the crowd pop. Becky thanks the Mon, Becky Lynch, thanks her for knocking her out since they're doing it on her time. She gets a cheap pop by saying Washington D.C., and then she says she goes looking for a fight. Just like her, the same words Rollins hit earlier in the beginning promo, how he says, let's go for a fight. I hate how that they do that line, let's fight. The fans want a story and then the match, but not always on the promo. They don't want just a quick, let's fight. But that's what Becky said, so their match is next week from Grand Rapids. Gunther says backstage to The Miz that the fun and games are over and he doesn't understand who he's dealing with. The greatest IC champion of all time, says The Miz. Sure, Miz, the greatest. I mean, he's great, but come on. If longevity gets your points up, or raid number, he's up there, I'm sure, but being IC champ back in the early 80s or 2000s for 1 month measures up to 1 year during Miz's reigns. I do like that they don't overexpose Gunther and they keep him safe for special matches. Ivar heads to the ring next for his match with The Miz. But backstage, another backstage segment while there's people in the ring, Baszler tells Stark that she's happy she has her match. At Survivor Series for the title against Ripley. Some of the worst acting backstage during Ivar's entrance against The Miz. God, it was so bad. Then Nia Jax and Raquel Rodriguez, they made it face to face. And Nia said that if it wasn't for you cowards, I wouldn't have been eliminated in the Battle Royal. Sure, Nia. I'm sure it was the cowards eliminating you, and it wasn't your excess body weight, which is why all the cowards eliminated you. Hey, that's just the truth. That's why they eliminate Andre the Giant with a bunch of people. They do that to the biggest person in there. It's strategy, Nia. It's strategy. It doesn't make somebody a coward. Miz with a springboard Hurricane Rana to Ivar before clotheslining him 3 times to finally get him to the outside. And then Miz, once on the outside, is laid out by Ivar, who overpowered him here in DC. They applaud for Miz to get back to their feet, and then he hits an impressive tornado DDT to Ivar, going around the world like The Rock used to do. Miz has pulled out old moves, as Cole mentions. A side slam to Ivar by The Miz. Bronson Reed comes to the ring and puts a chair down. The Miz came from the top, used the ropes out of nowhere for the pinfall victory at 12.5 minutes. Does Ivar kick out of the ring and follow a slam before it. Miz uses the ropes to win the match. I give that match 2 stars and 3/4. Then they show the rules for the War Games. So after 2 weeks of the Creed brothers getting wins, it looks like we don't get them on TV, I wrote. 1 week off won't hurt their momentum. This is what I wrote at the time. They'd still show up in a second, but I'm still reading my notes. But a quick squash match I felt the Creeds could have done against the Jobbers. That would have sufficed. Or sufficed. Nonetheless, backstage, Jay McDonough is with Priest. Priest says tonight he took one for the team, and that's something he can go to war with. And he says, "Welcome to the Judgment Day," and gives him a jacket as the crowd pop. Well, at least we have that finally taken care of. The main event is up next, and before we get to the match, we get a surprise appearance by Jinder Mahal and his crew with Imperium. Didn't expect that. And just as I write all this, the Creed brothers, bam, there they are. They're backstage in a segment. And of course, the New Day have to be a part of it. This is the we didn't fit on Raw segment where a bunch of people just talk and it goes to each other, the tandems, different tandems. They talk and they get their 5 minutes of fame on Raw. Tozawa that comes out of nowhere and dances around like the New Day. This is the kind of scene that you don't want to get caught watching wrestling for. You don't want your family to catch on watching this. They make pretty good matches for next week. The 4-on-4 match is good because they can take advantage of them wrestling. It's not giving the match away since War Games are a different beast. Anyway, the main event comes up. It's for the tag team titles. And I'm not going to sing Cody Rhodes' entrance theme again because I promised to never do that. So I'm going to stick to my promises. Uso began in with Balor. They exchanged offense. Cody Rhodes tagged in, and the American Nightmare hit an elbow off the top to Balor. And he hit a standing vertical suplex to Rhodes. Balor eventually got to Priest, and he came in with a big blow to main event Jey Uso. Then he's thrown into the corner, and the Mr. Money in the Bank Priest went to work. Balor back in with a scissors kick, Booker T style. Then we go to a commercial break as both guys came to the floor, and all 4 of them started to brawl at once. Back from the break, Cody kicks out at 2 as the Judgment Day continued to dominate. Jay battled back, and the crowd chanted, "Yeah," every time Jay hit his offense. Another commercial break. I don't want to stick up to the writing. It's 10:52 Eastern Time, 7:52. Don't want to stick up to the play-by-play because then it could last all night. I just want to get down to business here. Main event, Jey Uso had a step up where the Judgment Day were in control, and he hits a suicide dive. Drew McIntyre all of a sudden comes to the ring and hits Jay with a Claymore. There it is. Called it. I don't think I'm that amazing. Again, Balor gets the near pinfall at 23 minutes. Not near, the pinfall at 23 minutes. The Judgment Day retain as the Claymore knocked out main event Jey Uso. So if Drew is going to keep this heel character in all black, don't smile with Charlie Caruso's of the world. So that'd be Jackie Redmond, who wasn't on tonight's Raw, which is surprising. She's doing NHL game 5 nights a week, it seems. She's everywhere, as Jackie Redmond. Much respect for my fellow Canadian. So if Drew is going to keep this character, please don't smile with the Charlie Carusos of the world like Jackie Redmond. Let's get the heel Scottish psychopath. Be a full heel, not all the way, not smiling and laughing with the commentators like he did the last time he was a Scottish psychopath. 3 stars for the main event match heading into the Survivor Series Go Home next week from Grand Rapids, where they've advertised a few good matches already. Mommy then comes to the top of the stage and shakes hands with Drew. So is Drew in the Judgment Day, or is he just there to help out on the other side? Questions next week may answer, but at least there is a reason to watch next week. And that's what I mean when I say this show was decent. As I said, I rated SmackDown with a brutal rating last week, no question. The rating of 3.5 is horrendous, and that's way too high for my standards. My standards are way too high. This show was a lot better, good story continuation, decent matches. Just the promos need some work, and the captivation matter needs a little bit of work. I rate this 5.5 out of 10. It's hard to do a 3-hour show, but they need to work on the promos. We had some good wrestling and some good storyline continuation with backstage segments. There's better ways to sports entertain, though, when I'm talking about the cringe segments with Nia Jax and, again, that segment backstage with Tozawa. So, Raw, November 13th, 2023. Happy Veterans Day week. We will see you this Friday night for SmackDown. And as always, I'll see you here every day for History of Wrestling videos. This is Brett Mix, a.k.a. Macho Wrestling 101, signing off. See you on the next one. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hit like and subscribe for your boy. I'm not sure if I'm your boy, but hit like and subscribe nonetheless. And have a great day, everyone. We'll see you next time.